Natalia, talking about fintech, what do you think that's the most innovative that you see on payments?
The ability to send money instantly across countries, bypassing all corresponding banking networks, is absolutely transformative for businesses, migrants, and consumers. Management consultancy taught me how to structure complex problems and find solutions quickly. That mindset that I've kept through all my career. The efficiency gains are too big to be ignored.
Artisans Collection was the motivation to create this startup.
We are done with mass production. It's very difficult to find uniqueness. So that sort of gap inspired me to create a marketplace. Embedded finance means where payments are actually seamlessly integrated into platforms. That invisible layer is kind of the future.
Natalia, a message and advice that you want to say to somebody that has a full-time job and is not daring to give this step?
Don't wait until you're ready. We're never ready. Start and figure things out as you go.
Today we have Natalia Adan. She's one of the most experienced professionals in the payment and fintech industry. She worked for Meta, PayPal, Western Union, and currently at Tunes. Natalia is going to be sharing her point of view on payments, what is happening, the key innovations, stablecoins, and MiCA regulation. Natalia is also an entrepreneur. She has her own project called Artisans Collection, which is basically connecting artisans and designers with global buyers. So please continue watching. Don't miss this episode. That is super interesting. Thank you, Natalia, again.
Hi, Jimena. Hi, Natalia. Good afternoon.
Hi,
Hello.
Vero.
Good afternoon. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Jimena.
Hi, Natalia. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Natalia, to join us today.
Thank you to you both for inviting me.
Thanks, Natalia. So we're going to start, Natalia, talking about your journey, how your journey started, your career in payments, technology, and so on. First of all, Natalia, we need to mention that you started in consulting, then you moved to procurement, and then you started this corporate governance, and finally you started in the financial services and fintech. So I would like to know, how do you think, what were the key learnings during these professional experiences that shaped you, the professional that you are today and the leader that you are today?
Thank you very much. I mean, first of all, thank you for your invitation, for inviting me to this podcast, and for the nice, kind introduction. I think, it's true. I've been changing industry during my professional journey, and I think that every industry has taught very, very good lessons. So when I started after university, I started in management consultancy. Obviously, management consultancy is about problem solving. So as a young consultant, as a young professional, I could interact with many key decision makers. And I learned how to structure complex problems and find solutions quickly. So that has given me a problem-solving mindset that I've kept through all my career. So that analytical discipline is still part of how I work today, how I face problems, and how I find solutions, right? So that white sheet of paper where you need to start finding how to go from A to B, it's something I really, really enjoy. Then e-procurement and corporate governance, which is true, I did after management consultancy. I learned the importance of compliance, processes, and scalability. So how systems need to work, not just for today, but also for growth. So it's all about understanding what processes to follow, what needs to be changed. So change management is actually an important part of e-procurement. And then obviously scalability is always key, and scalability is present in everything I've done after that. Because when you launch, new solution, when you launch a new company, when you launch futures of a product, you always need to think big, and how is this going to be later on when more customers will adopt the solution or the product. So it's always important to think big and to think for the long term. And then finally, in financial services and fintech, I learned how to balance regulation with innovation. And this is really very interesting because, as you can imagine, fintech stands for finance and technology. So everything so payments obviously fall under fintech, but also embedded finance, insurtech, ad tech, et cetera, et cetera. So payments are heavily regulated, but to succeed, you also need creativity and speed, which is what obviously fintechs have brought to the financial services industry, which was dominated until I'd say 15, 20 years by obviously banks, big banks, and fintech have brought a completely new range of customer experiences and solutions. So the way you pay today is certainly not the way we used to pay before. So that combination of rigor and innovation has shaped the way I lead and I work today, definitely.
Super interesting. Very interesting journey. Definitely, when you see someone that the background is in consulting, you can tell the way of thinking is completely different. It's like effective, efficient, and like go to the point. And definitely the fact that you started with consulting and after you move in different areas and finally in fintech, I think what definitely make you the leader that you are today. So nice to see. Natalia, talking about fintech, which is financial and technology, but also leads to innovation. In your point of view, from your view, what do you think that's the most innovative that you see in payments happening at the moment, or what you think is going to happen during this year and next year? What do you think? What's the most exciting for you?
Yes. It's funny because I just came from Cybos yesterday, which is the major banking event globally. And there are a few themes there. So real-time cross-border payments are very important today in a global world where people move around the world for work, for business pleasure, for traveling, for everything. And businesses are not isolated. They're not operating within their borders anymore. They need global, right? They need to actually optimize for costs and everything. So the ability to send money instantly across countries, bypassing all corresponding banking networks, is very important. This is absolutely transformative for businesses, for migrants and consumers. When you want to send money everywhere instantly, and you need to make sure that money arrives. So to get to that, it's been a long journey for fintechs. Lots of fintechs are innovating really, really well. I will not give examples because if I think about one, then there are many others queuing in my mind and probably yours as well. But this is very important. So real-time cross-border payments, it's a topic. Alternative payment methods, it's another topic. So whether it's mobile wallets to instant bank transfers, you see in some regions, because we always tend to think with our Western mind and mentality, but in some regions, wallets are already more common than cards. And this trend is spreading globally. So more than 60% of the global population pay with wallets and run their financial life with wallets, not with a bank account. So the world is way more than, the US, Europe, Canada. If you think about Asia, if you think about Africa, they all use these super wallets, which they use for absolutely everything, whether it's to send money, to pay for goods, but also to pay for travel, insurance, etc. For the bus, for transportation. So they always use the mobile. And then the third most exciting innovation, I think, and this comes, it's been there for the last years, is embedded finance. So embedded finance means where payments are actually seamlessly integrated into platforms. So you actually are not thinking about making a payment anymore. It just happens in the background of your shopping, your travel booking, or even a business transaction. It can, embedded finance, you can find it also in lending platforms. So a small SME that needs to make a loan, paying for that loan is seamless. You actually don't even realize you're making a payment. That invisible layer is kind of the future. You're paying in an invisible way, but as a matter of fact, it's a secure transaction. It's safe, and obviously it's transparent, and it's gonna be executed properly. So that's kind of the future of payments. So I'd say these three things. Yeah. There are more, but I'd say these three things, obviously, and because I know we're gonna talk about stablecoins later on, but I think these three things are very important.
Yes. And talking about cross-border payments, definitely I think blockchain is a key, no? I mean, if I were talking about cross-border payments happening in that moment, persist and so on, no, blockchain is a big technology that more companies are, joining, and also banks are starting to feel more captivated and like trying to do more things on this. And in embedded finance also, Natalia, do you think open banking or open finance being a big part of this? Or how do you see it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, open banking, obviously it's been a good challenge. It goes with instant payments. It's really allowing account to account transactions with a seamless experience for the final users. And obviously open finance is really allowing different type of players to provide different type of services in the financial world. So it's really there's a lot of innovation, a lot of moving parts, but you always need to think about the use cases, right? It's what it's allowing me to do in the world of today. Whether it's to buy for an insurance that I need, and I can do that from my mobile app, my banking app, which is not anymore a traditional banking app, but it's actually a digital banking app. I can do that through my app. I can do that through the website. I can also do it, from a physical bank branch. But everything is, finance is really moving to the digital space. So it's certainly something that is changing our lives. It's bringing immediateness. It's bringing a great UX for the customers. And in the same way, we're used to basically call for an Uber and wait just 2 minutes and we complain after 3 minutes. But the same goes today for accessing. This is also about financial inclusion. So it's how we allow people to access new services and, buying an insurance, having a chance to compare for cheaper insurances, for example, understand what are the fees, what I'm being proposed, and then obviously have a fantastic buying journey. That's very important.
Great. And I think it's kind of ironic, if I ask you, how do you see the industry evolving over the next 5 years, which is kind of like, obviously it's changing so fast, and like every month, you see new technology, new things coming up. But what would be your point of view? What do you think?
Yes, it's really very interesting because, again, innovation is a broad word, is a big umbrella, and then there are a lot of things happening. So basically, the first thing I see is convergence of rails. When we think about payment rails, you need to think about the way you pay. So cards, it's one rail, wallets, bank transfers, and even crypto. So I see a convergence of all these rails. All these different type of payments will be more interconnected, letting people choose the best method for each situation, right? So again, if you need to pay a friend, you want to do it maybe from your wallet because it's an easy transaction rather than just going into a bank website and including all the IBAN details, SWIFT details. I mean, it's really complicated. If you think about card payments, you obviously think about contactless and everything, all the innovation that has brought. But we want to think about actually convergence of all these rails. So paying from an online bank to a wallet, that's one way of seeing this. Or the opposite, from a wallet basically to a bank account. So interoperability is going to be key. Then the other thing is data-driven payments. So if you think about AI so AI is interesting, the combination of AI and fraud, because fraudsters are using AI to increase the threat for payers. But AI will also make prevention smarter and personalize, and will personalize payments. So if you think about this, then you're turning payments into a real value driver. If you think about the data it brings, rather than just a cost. So the payment transaction brings a lot of data, what you're buying, where you're buying it, what payment method you're using. And all of this is very important to basically improve the customer experience. So we always need to think about payments in terms of what data it brings with it. And then the third thing is, I mentioned before that innovation and regulation go hand by hand. So we always need to think about regulation as an enabler. So initiatives like PSD2, like PSD3, open banking, which you just mentioned in Europe, will not only slow things down, but they actually build trust and open more doors for innovation. Trust in payments and in finance in general is really important because we're talking about people's money, businesses' money, right? So there has to be trust. So that's what regulation brings. It's always a framework of trust within the different players, a set of rules that need to be applied so that everybody can pay safely and transactions basically are happening safely. And the winners will be the ones who can comply fast while staying agile. So that's also very important, is how do we play on a regulated playground, but at the same time offering a great UX experience with not so many steps to just pay. We all want seamless. So yeah, that's kind of the challenge as well. It's not only just a big trend, but it's a challenge for every fintech in the industry at this moment.
Okay. A great UX, but also with all the checks on the regulation and also the security side, definitely. Yeah.
Sure.
So, Natalia, let's talk now about stable coins and crypto in Europe. So, stable coins are often described as game changes for the financial system. So, for these people that they don't know what means stable coins, can you tell us more about what they are?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually fascinating. So stable coins are digital tokens which are linked to a stable asset like the euro or the dollar. So unlike the Bitcoin, which value swing up and down, stablecoin value doesn't. So €1 stablecoin is always worth €1. Dollar stablecoin like USDC, USDT, they are pegged to the dollar. So that makes stablecoins actually more practical for payments. This is the first thing. And I think it's funny because in the payments world, we first heard talking about blockchain, crypto as a currency, and then stable coins are gaining more and more adepts because of their the practical use cases that are emerging. Stable coins basically bring two key advantages. So we were talking about cross-border before, cross-border payments. Stablecoins make cross-border payments instant and cheaper. Stablecoins are instant, borderless, right, and programmable. So stablecoins, they don't rely on multiple banks to actually be settled. So you can settle payments 24/7. You don't have to think about banks' cutoff times. So that is the first thing. And they unlock new possibilities like programmable money. So what is programmable money, which is it's a different, difficult to pronounce word. So let me explain. Programmable money is money with built-in instructions, more or less. So imagine you buy goods from abroad. The payment could be coded so that actually it only gets released once the shipment arrives. That's one use case. Or if you think about a freelancer that needs to be paid, freelancer could be just paid once their delivery has been sent. So if you think about these kind of payments today, all these involve different steps, invoices, approvals, transfers. With stable coins, everything is automatic and instant. So that is why the fact that they can be programmable makes them actually very attractive. So that's why I see stablecoins as a potential backbones for cross-border commerce. And of course, adoption depends on strong regulation and actually making sure that the systems can talk to each other, because interoperability there is going to be also paramount. How you hold stable coins, but then how actually you operate within the stable coins framework. But then at some stage, you also want to change those stable coins with fiat money. So if you think about the global payments world, obviously stable coins makes payments faster, cheaper, and smarter. So it's very interesting.
And talking about regulations, Natalia, you know that always regulations are a challenge. So, what do you think that will happen to the crypto ecosystem in Europe? now with all the regulations that are coming?
Yes. So, I mean, this is an interesting question, and I want to talk a little bit about regulation because I was in London yesterday, and I was speaking to a friend that it's a little bit in the middle of a company having issues because of not being compliant, and the regulator has basically suspended, operations. So I think regulation is always very important, and operating a regulated framework, it's paramount. So in Europe, we have MiCA, which is a milestone, right? Like we are ahead of the US because it's the first time Europe has actually unified a set of rules for digital assets. So again, thinking about stable coins and the fact that there's a set of rules that are going to be common for the entire playground gives trust to both consumers, so you and I, and institutions that can trust operators. So what I expect coming from the MiCA framework basically is a consolidation. So projects that can't meet compliance standards will actually disappear, while stronger, well-capitalized companies and players will thrive. So and that we're gonna see a lot of movement in different players, including banks. So for payments, this means that stable coins issued under MiCA could be treated almost like e-money, which could really accelerate adoption by banks, PSPs, and merchants. So you always need to think about what are the first players actually starting issuing stable coins, what are the use cases, what is why people like us would adopt stable coins. Why you think about, for example, emerging markets where there's a lot of volatility in their currency. Think about Argentina, think about Nigeria. The stable coins bring stability, right? So it's if you think about emerging markets, stablecoins will also be very important. But again, going back to your question, which is about regulation, I think without regulation, it's very difficult that institutions can create trust and players can operate safely. So it's really important.
Totally agree with you, Natalia. And
Yeah.
do you see European banks embracing these models like stable coins or crypto, or maybe resisting to them?
So I come from Cybers in Frankfurt, right? And I've had many conversations with banks. Obviously, banks, when it comes to innovation, they are really very cautious. And when I speak about innovation, I think about innovation. I even think about cross-border payments outside their corresponding banking network rails, right? So if there is not mistrust, but if there is that kind of level of prudency for cross-border payments outside their usual network, let's imagine about stablecoins where, of course, there's billions of transactions now in stablecoins, but I think there are followers. They are not usually the ones who lead innovation. So I think they will embrace them over time. The efficiency gains are too big to be ignored. So we're already seeing experiments with central bank digital currencies and blockchain pilots. So it's going to be very gradual, very little by little steps, so that they understand, again, how to build trust, how to control what happens on the blockchain. I think it's also a matter of understanding knowledge, understanding how everything works. Because, to be honest, I think when it's about blockchain, crypto, stable coins, there's a lot to study. It's very technical. People in the banks, if you think about anybody working at a bank, I would love to see a survey where you ask people, what do you think about stable coins? What are these, or what are cryptocurrencies? Do you trade in cryptocurrencies? Not necessarily they all know, right? So in the short term, adoption will be very selective. Things like cross-border B2B payments or treasury management will come first. So treasury management is very interesting. In the US, a lot of companies are actually stocking stable coins because it allows them to basically do payments in real time and settle 24/7. So that's important. But in the long term, stable coins and even CBDCs, which are the central bank digital currencies, will sit alongside traditional banking and not replacing it, but enhancing it. So this is about really having new tools and new instruments let's say, solving for different use cases, solving better for certain use cases.
Also, there was a big news from Cybos. Swift is running a pilot soon with 30 banks, which obviously for the blockchain and stablecoins was like a great news, even though it's a pilot. But I think there are more banks, traditional banks, going to at least try. What is this about? Yeah, it's difficult.
Absolutely.
Because a little bit technical, as you mentioned. Natalia, now I would like to discuss a little bit more from your personal side, talking still about your professional, but more in your personal. What was your career decisions and motivations? As Vero said at the beginning, you have been working for big companies like Western Union, PayPal, and Meta, and now you are working for Tunes. So what was the bold choice or the bold choices that you have made when you decide to leave those big companies and restart a new path? The new path means changes, means unknown lands. So what do you think? How do you know that was the right time to move on?
Yes. So I've always thought about, historically, we've always, when you think about the professional journey of people, you always see what companies they've been working on, etc. And I've always thought about companies as projects, professionally and personally. So I don't join a company for the sake of joining a company. I join a project. So for me, it's always been about growth. So whenever I felt that there's growth, I've been investing, myself personally and professionally, learning and contributing in the way I wanted. Whenever I see there's no growth anymore because of organizational changes, because of strategy changes, I think growth was to me paramount. So that was what was enlightening me for all these changes. And then if I believe in the project, again, I really go with no fear. And I'm certain about what I'm doing. So I think growth, learning, it's something that I've always had in mind. Leaving stability for uncertainty is always challenging, but you always need to think about the people that are involved in the project you're going to join, right? And so trusting in people is really very important as well. So I overcame all of this by trusting that every move was an investment in myself, in learning, new networks, new opportunities. I also think that we need to be very rational, but we also need to follow our gut. And I've seen a lot of people in my past. Actually, when I was a young consultant, one of the partners of my company, he was really good in hiring people, and people didn't go through super long processes. He hired based on gut, and he created the best team I've ever worked with. So sometimes I'd say creativity versus creativity. When I say creativity is instinct, and creativity versus processes are winners. So yeah, trusting the people and trusting the project, I'd say, is what is most important.
So true, so true. And you mentioned fears, which obviously all of this uncertainty, as you mentioned, is bring fears. So what fears do you face and how do you overcome to them?
Fears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have fears. I've done many things. I've been living in different countries. I always see an opportunity in every change. I love change. I actually don't believe that things can stay static. I think it's all about understanding what you're doing. It's all about trusting your instinct, and it's all about understanding where you're going. So if you think about growth, as I was mentioning before, then, fear disappear. I think fears are more related, especially women, are more related to, will I perform well? Will I be a good leader? Will I be a good team leader? Will I, and I think fear is overcome with knowledge. When you get prepared, when you study, when you know what you're talking about, I don't think there's fear, but obviously we all need to work on our self-confidence. But the only way I know to basically work on confidence is basically by studying.
Good, Natalia.
And increasing my knowledge about any topic.
also, I guess, all the adrenaline, no? Something new that is always like motivating you as well, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
And talking about motivation, Natalia, what motivates you today? What keeps you growing professionally and mostly personally?
Yeah, so I'm motivated by building things. I think whether it's scaling cross-border payment solutions or launching a new marketplace, I love the process of turning an idea into reality. You know, back to that white sheet of paper that we were talking about when we were thinking about consultancy.
Sure.
I really like that process.
Sure.
And personally, I'm motivated by curiosity. You know, the drive to keep me learning from people, cultures, and industries.
Sure.
That's who I am today. I love traveling because I like knowing different people, new people, how they speak, what language, what they eat, how they think, their religion, where they come from. And it's the same in the professional world. If you're not curious, whether you're in a bank, whether you're in consultancy, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a doctor, I think curiosity is really the pillar, the engine of everything you have to do. Without curiosity, you stay where you are, and there's no evolution, right? I think that's very important.
That's true. And Natalia, after so many years working for large and global corporations, how was your perspective on the industry and your own career evolved?
Yes. So, I mean, I've realized that impact doesn't just come from size. So, large corporations give scale and give resources. So, you know, for example, when I used to work at Meta, I worked for 2 years to build payments on WhatsApp. And, you know, Meta had lots of resources to do that. And the scale was going to be incredible, right?
Yeah.
But then, for reasons we will not discuss today, the project was sort of interrupted. And if it could have been a smaller company with its own resources, maybe, you know, the project would have seen the light, right? Like, you don't waste resources for such an amazing project. But yeah, large corporations give scale and resources, and then smaller ventures give speed, creativity. So my perspective today is that the most exciting opportunities often come from combining both worlds. So yeah, being able to, obviously it's very difficult when you try to achieve ambitious goals with no resources. But obviously we all know that corporations, because of the fact that there is a lot of people, because of the fact that you need to operate efficiently, they need to start multiplying processes as well, which sometimes is also a blocker. You think about a scale up, you think about a startup, and everything is about, okay, what we think today can be done, let's just do it, rather than, you know, what's the process that we're going to apply. So I think a combination of both is always very important. To be honest, I've been really lucky because I've been in large corporates. I could never say that Meta is a large corporate. Like, we were operating as a startup, totally. PayPal as well. I've always liked that, the fact that we are building, we are work in progress, is not done. At Meta, the offices had these kind of ceilings where everything was kind of under construction. So you don't have that feeling that, yeah, this is it. You have the feeling that you're actually building something, and that's really something very important. It's whatever you are, you have to be in a place which is agile and allows you to build what has to be built.
Funny, because on the previous episode with Veronica, we were doing like this challenge. Who is pro fintech, who is pro to corporate, you know? So we were saying the pros and the cons in each words. But I think when you mix both, and companies like Meta and PayPal, definitely the proof that they have this agile, you know, methodology, and also large, because they are big corporations. But it's very good to see this when it's mixed.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, if you think about the banking space, banks partner with fintechs. They have to, right? Because obviously we bring solutions, technology, infrastructure that it's very important for them, and it would take them ages to actually build them themselves. So I think that this combination between large corporates and smaller companies that can actually solve for certain use cases is absolutely strategic. And we'll see more of that. I think think we need to think about, companies are not isolated. I always think about companies within an ecosystem. So it's the same thing. If I think about fintech, this is really an ecosystem where every company operates thanks to the capabilities of the other companies. And you take those capabilities to actually be better at other capabilities that you have. So I really love that. I don't ever like talking about competition or competitors. I always like talking about partners, because there's no such a thing. I think every company is different, and every company has, in the fintech world, like different licenses, different infrastructure, and you can operate with better when you're in an ecosystem of collaboration. I just love that. I think the same in the in the personal world, or if you think about teams, it's always good to combine skills and collaborate. You take that to the corporate world, you take that to the different ecosystems, to industries, and that's absolutely a must.
It's very interesting, all your experience, Natalia, in technology and payments. But let's talk about your personal project, Artisans Collection. What was the motivation to create this startup that at the end has nothing to do with fintechs or stable coins or crypto?
Yes. So, so I've always loved design and craftsmanship. I studied economics. I did an MBA. I started loving architecture, design, art. My mother is a painter. My brother is a painter. I've always been living, with creative people, surrounded by creative people. And although I was more maths, and financial analysis, and
The
my
art is
mind
in
has
your
this
blood.
side. Sorry?
The art is in your blood.
Exactly. Art and design is in my blood, but also I started loving architecture, and I'm wondering why I hadn't studied architecture, right? And I think I was biased by, don't study architecture because you're gonna be very hungry. You will never find a good job. And I mean, there were all these kind of things that you were being told, right, when you were kind of choosing. So anyway, I studied economics, and then over the years, I really realized that I enjoy architecture, art, design. And so I saw so many incredible artisans creating unique pieces, and I like beauty as well. So I saw over the years, because I like beauty and I like design, all these artisans creating unique pieces, but really struggling to reach global audiences.
Yeah.
When you are an artist, you don't even have the time to work on social media, right? And at the same time, buyers were looking for authenticity. Because we are done with mass production. Everything looks the same. Everything, whether it's for fashion, whether it's very difficult to find uniqueness. So that sort of gap inspired me to create a marketplace that connects both worlds, which is actually is Artisans Collection. And by the way, during that journey, I also studied interior design. So I'm an interior designer as well. Again, because I love beauty and I love design. So I thought, how is this, to gain knowledge, to obviously I've done it in my own world with my friends. I love always renovating houses, and but how is this if I actually have a proper methodology, if I understand what tools do I need to use. So for 3 years I studied interior design. Starting from scratch was going to be very complicated. Been now like more than 15 years in fintech, and you don't want to start like doing a stage in an interior design. So I thought, maybe if I combine both worlds, e-commerce, technology, payments, right, with craftsmanship and design, then maybe that can make sense. And I'm really very happy I did it.
Mm-hmm. And what challenge and lessons are you learning as a founder? I think that maybe you have a big list of them. Just let us know some of
Yes.
them.
Yes. No, definitely. I mean, challenges, which again is a word I usually don't use. I see this more as opportunities and learning, right? But challenges are a little bit everywhere, from logistics to shipping to building a brand on a limited budget. I've learned so much, because when you're on your own, so for 6 months, I left completely the corporate world, or, fintech world, because I wanted to build my platform. The platform is called Artisans Collection. So it's www.artisanscollections.com. And I loved it. I loved all the, everything I've done, from the IT, deciding what backend, deciding with the design developer, the look and feel of the brand, creating the brand, creating the company, having that experience on my own, like having an entrepreneurial experience after so many years working for other people has been amazing. And the biggest lesson is basically resilience. Things are never easy. When you see companies that are amazing, like Meta, I don't know, Revolut in the fintech space, and they were not before like what they are today. It takes many years to actually break into people's mind. It's a lot about communication, but it's a lot about the user experience. It's a lot about the trust you create with your partners. In my case, with my designers and the artisans, right? The way I work with interior designers. So things rarely go as planned, but persistence and adaptability make the difference. In my case, just for the record, I have my day job, which is fintech. And then I open another computer and I enter a complete different world after I finish my day job, and I start interacting with interior designers, with artisans, with beauty, and I just love it. I think my brain needs both, right? Both, the rational, the finance, and the analytical, but then also speaking to designers, speaking about beauty, speaking about, I just love that. So even if I need to work more hours rather than going to have drinks, I really love it.
Well, Natalia, I have to say that Artisans Collection website is really, really beautiful. So congrats.
Thank you so much. To be honest, I'm touched because it's so much hard work. Yeah,
a lot of work for sure. And how do you envision the future of Artisan Collection?
Yeah, so I see Artisans Collection way more than a marketplace, right? I've always, when I explain it, I always speak about a design hub, a hub for uniqueness, a hub for beauty. So I wanted to become a global hub for craftsmanship and sustainable craftsmanship, combining online visibility with physical showrooms and creating a space where design meets culture. So it's not about just buying, unique design pieces. It's also about buying the story of the artisans that actually are handcrafting these pieces. And you need to show that, right? You need to explain, you need to educate people about that. It's very difficult to do this on the online world where people are just looking for a very quick, pleasures. It's like, okay, let me just see what's more shiny, what's more. I think there's way more behind that. I don't know. I have brands that have built design furniture from picking, collecting plastic in Bali rivers. So while they were contributing to sustainability of an entire country, they were actually using the same materials to create design and create amazing, unique pieces. So I always choose my designers and my artisans based on the uniqueness of what they do, but also the stories, what inspired them. So Artisans Collection needs to bring all of these stories to people so that they can think about not only bringing a nice and a unique piece to my place or to your, projects, whether you're a professional or a hotel or someone who's renovating their own house, but really are bringing personal stories from all these amazing artists into their space. That's my mission. And when I tell this mission to obviously the designers and artists and artisans, they just love it. But I want that people love it. So the more people will buy, the more will mean that actually they understood what our mission is.
Great.
So yeah.
We will share the link under the box below, Natalia, and then people can check your beautiful website.
Yes, thank you. That's amazing.
And just by curiosity, Natalia, how do you choose these artisans or those designers? Do you have something specific, like can you pass a filter, beside the fact that I believe that they create unique and special objects, or obviously, but there is something else?
I mean, yes, of course, I need to attend important design events. You think about Maison et Objet, Salone del Mobile in Italy. you need to be where these people go to show their works. And I've also selected designers and artisans by just walking in the streets of Rome, just seeing an amazing sculptures artistic shop and
Yeah.
going inside, speaking to them and getting so inspired by their stories and, you know, the materials they were using, how these sculptures were amazingly crafted by the artist. So I think, again, back to curiosity, right? Is really having the curiosity of learning from people, not just stopping at the window and looking something and saying, yeah, it's nice, and then you walk away. It's amazing when you get insight and you actually try to learn more.
Yeah.
I have an Ukrainian brand which does incredible. It's called a Panopticon collection, so you can see it, you can explore it. But they are in a war country, and yet they continue crafting this amazing furniture, which is very, very unique. Sorry, it's very unique. So I think it's important to have the curiosity to always learn.
Definitely agree. Okay, Natalia, we're reaching the end. Sadly, it's super interesting to listen from you. Really, we're learning so much. But well, everything will reach an end. So we're going to go for a quick fire round that we call it. So you have to say the first thing that comes to your mind when I'm going to ask you the questions. And later, if you don't mind, you can close the episode with any message that you feel like you want to say to people. Could be a young professional or somebody that is having a full-time job, but then is thinking about this creativity side and doesn't dare to go ahead. So anything that comes to your mind as well, you can close the episode. It's a bit of improvisation, but I think it will work. Okay, Natalia. So what is the app that you use the most? And you cannot say what's up.
Yes. I mean, I'd say, well, LinkedIn, I use it a lot. And the second one is eDreams, because I love traveling.
Okay.
So I love just planning for the next weekend or holiday or yeah.
That's nice. A book or podcast that inspired you recently?
Yeah, so I must say that I'm a big reader. But I'm just because we're in a podcast, right? I think podcasts are really amazing.
Yeah.
And I have learned a lot. I mean, I'm learning a lot of history with Histocast, which is a Spanish podcast about history. So you can basically listen to many episodes about different, history moments.
Okay.
And I love history. So it's really very important, because everything that happens today, whether it's with everything geopolitically, everything that is happening has an explanation in the past, and it's important to know our past. Yeah, Istocast is very interesting.
And are you an early bird or?
I'm none of these two. I'm not. I like. I'm not an early bird. I believe in sleeping really well. And I'm not a night owl in saying, I stay until late at night. I really like evening and night. That I really enjoy. I think I'm a person who needs to take rhythm as the day goes. So in the morning I'm less, let's say, active, but that's physical, right? So in the morning it takes time, and then during the day I gain a lot of speed. And in the evening, which is when I work in my Artisans Collection marketplace, it's basically it's
when you have the more.
I'm on my best. I'm on my best.
Of course. And one habit that you cannot live without to disconnect and to recharge?
Yeah, meditation. I love it. I wake up every morning with meditation. But in general, I'd say sport as well. I play tennis, and good tennis match. It's for me, it's incredible.
Good. And as I was telling you, Natalia, a message and advice that you want to say can be to the 20 years old Natalia, or somebody young professional, as I told you, somebody that has a full-time job and is not daring to give this step to try by themselves something that they own.
Yes, I'd say, don't wait until you're ready, because we're never ready. Start and figure things out as you go. That to me, I think it's very important. but also work hard. Nothing comes without hard work. If you want to thrive, if you want to solve the big issues that we have today, you need to work hard. You need to prepare yourself. You need to study. So I think it's about vision. So envisioning what you want to do, what problem you want to solve. And then it's about knowledge, getting prepared, study, and then go for it. That to me, it's what's important. Think about what problems you want to solve.
Thank you so much, Natalia. It was really a pleasure to think to
Thank you to
you.
you both. It's been great. Thank you so much, Jimena and Veronica. It's been great talking through all of this.
Thank you so much, Natalia. See you next.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.